Hi there, I am Stephanie Dreyer with VegMama.com, and I am super excited to have the lovely Miss Dreena Burton today with Plant Powered Kitchen, and we are going to be talking about her brand new cookbook, Plant Powered Families. I am so excited to have you here, Dreena. Welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's great to chat.
And we have a lot to chat about with this beautiful book. So I am a fan. For those of you who are living under a rock and don't know the Miss Dreena Burton, Mrs. Dreena Burton, she is, for me, has been a savior and a resource to me since I first went vegan 5.5 years ago. She's got, what is it, Dreena, 5 books?
5 books.
5 books now with her latest. And everything from entertaining and going vegan and raising kids, she's got recipes for every facet of your life. And I'm going to talk about those actually when you visit VegMama.com below after watching this interview. You can learn a little bit about all those other books. But today we're going to focus on this one, Plant Powered Families, her latest, which is, I'm so excited about it. It seems like the universe brings you what you need exactly when you need it. And I've really been struggling the last couple months with my kids, as I'm sure a lot of families can relate, is to getting them to eat healthy foods and liking it without complaining, and eating more vegetables and fruits without complaining. And for me, especially with kids who are not raised vegan, since I went vegan 5.5 years ago when they were still little, still are little, I really have to get creative about introducing vegan foods to them and replacing some of their non-vegan favorites with vegan alternatives that I'm hoping that will, delight them and excite them in the same way. So this book came to me during a time when I have really been challenged and struggled. And so I first just want to say thank you, Dreena, for putting this out there, because we need this book.
Thank you. And parenting and picky eaters and all those, you mentioned complaints. Mine complain too. So vegan or not, your kids complain. And for sure, when they're smaller too and younger, as they get older, I do find they really develop into the diet and sort of embrace all kinds of fruits and veggies more than you would think they would have when they were 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're complaining about all the variety and complaining about the greens. By the time they get a little older, you see that all those efforts you've been putting in are starting to pay back. So it's a really good thing. And I always encourage people to kind of have that longer term perspective, because, day to day, it can feel very frustrating.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I see you as this, vegan expert and maven of the vegan family. So to hear that your kids complain a little too makes me feel a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my 6-year-old, this was in the last 6 months, she went through the phase of everything's yucky and stinky that I would give her, unless it was her few favorite dishes. She'd say, that's yucky and stinky. And so, we all go through it.
So tell us, what was the inspiration for this book, since you are fortunate that your kids have been raised on a vegan diet and in a vegan lifestyle? Because you have 4 other books, what made you do this book now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, because I was raising children as I was writing my other books, but I always felt like I wanted to put together that family book. And when they were really little, I sort of felt that I didn't have enough experience with the different stages. They hadn't hit elementary years yet. And then even with my eldest, who's now in high school, I felt like, okay, she's not even a teenager yet. So I kind of wanted to get some of those years under my apron as a mom and get the perspective of those different stages. And I think I just felt like the timing was right. There was nothing in the market either. I mean, there's so many cookbooks out there now, and also just tips and advice and guides and nutritional books for vegans, but there wasn't a whole lot for children and families that was really practical. I felt like that was the how-to of week to week and approaching these situations in school and parties and all of those things. So I just felt like the timing was right for me. My kids were a little older. I had a collection of new recipes plus some favorites from my old books that my kids really loved, and I kind of wanted to just put it all together in a book with lots of photos so that people could visually see, that this food is not really that different. It's just whole foods that are yummy and that we can all make. Even if we don't have kids, we can make these recipes week to week if we're really busy. So I just felt the timing was right. And now there's a lot more awareness with veganism and families. So I feel like families are starting to even become more comfortable about talking about being vegan and that their children are vegan. Like they're on more forums and Facebook groups and that kind of thing, just expressing what they're going through. So that's just wonderful to be able to share together like that and learn from each other.
I mean, you're exactly right. There really isn't a book that puts it all together like this. And you mentioned a couple things that I want to highlight. First of all, you said that you wanted to include information about parties when they go to parties, or even in the classroom when they're doing celebrations and they're bringing out treats that, you know, are not vegan. How do you handle those situations? And I really love that in this book, you're going to find more than the beautiful recipes and illustrations, which I also wanted to highlight. And of course I go to hummus. I love that you love hummus as much as I do. But I mean, you see these beautiful illustrations, and beyond that, can you talk about specifically what you can expect to find in the book besides just these beautiful illustrations and recipes, some of those other things that you're talking about as far as navigating the world of being a mom in a non-vegan world, and how you help your kids navigate that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, for me, I've always been doing recipes and cookbooks, and people love recipes, of course, but I think for mothers and parents, they want to get more about what you do in your life, like weekly, monthly, how you kind of cope with these situations, because it's far more than just making recipes for your kids, for parents, or you know, finding the right birthday cake or whatever. Like, it's far more for us. Because we do have these social situations with kids and the developmental stages. So after the recipe section, I have quite a few sections. I have one on picky eaters, because parents would email me all the time saying, you know, oh, my kid won't eat this, or they're picky, and we all deal with it. I don't think that you can eat any diet without having kids be somewhat picky about whatever, like it's stages they go through. And so I address that in the book, and I talk about those stages and tips and how to, you know, kind of work with the ages, and some things that are fun for little kids, and then things that are a little more, I call it, I guess, informative or educational for the older kids, about learning about food and just helping them understand that. Because I think food is really important for kids to understand, and they don't learn about food very much in school. They don't learn about cooking, but it's really a very important life skill for them to have. So with my girls, we talk about food a lot, and recipes and what's in them and that kind of thing. So I talk about that in the picky eaters section. And then there's a section on packing lunches, because again, that's something that parents always reach out to me about, is what do I pack in my kids' lunch? Like I'm not packing meat and eggs and dairy. And so we all remember eating things like egg salad sandwiches and tuna sandwiches in school. And now, of course, there's no nuts. I mean, I haven't had a year where all of my girls, and they've been in school, well, my eldest is in grade 7 now, I've never been able to send nuts to school. So not just peanuts, but no tree nuts. And so that's a challenge for vegans, because we do include a lot of nuts and nut products in our diet, right? Like almond butter sandwiches and things like that. So in that section, I kind of give those tips on how to get around some of those nut allergies and what you can do for substitutions. And also just ideas, like lots of ideas. You know, instead of this, pack this. And here are some things you can do with tofu, or here's some things you can do with potatoes and beans and that kind of thing. And then there's a section on parties, hosting birthday parties, and also going to birthday parties. Because we've been through a lot of those. And then there's a nutritional section at the back, which I collaborated with a friend, Heather Nichols, and she's a holistic nutritionist. So she helped me put that section together with the questions that people always ask. What about calcium? I call it the vegan trifecta. What about calcium, protein, and iron? It's always the thing that comes up. And then a few other questions too. So, and then there are some meal plans. So it kind of is a, you know, rounds out the recipes and gives parents that insight into how they can, like you said, navigate these situations and feel confident about it and not feel overwhelmed, because I think we can become very overwhelmed about what ifs. And a lot of times those what ifs don't even happen, but just to feel confident about them.
That is so key. The confidence, I think, is critical. for me, as I've been on my journey, the more confident that I've been in what I'm doing and know that it is the nutritional, not just that we know it's the right way as vegans, we know it's the best thing that we could be doing for the planet and our bodies. But you deal with a lot of people who criticize or ask questions that for me at least, being, because I'm kind of a nomad in my social circle and my husband's not vegan, where you start to doubt yourself and you go, oh wait, am I giving them enough of the nutrition that they need? This kind of information really reinforces and gives you that confidence to say, no, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And it kind of just props you up a little, which I really appreciate. And I love you. I wanted to profile. You also have these nutrition charts in the back and the conversion charts. And I think that these are really great go-tos for people too, when you're, if you have family that is well-meaning and is asking, well, really, how much is in that? How much protein, whatever. I love that you've got all this kind of information, that's the facts, that helps you have that confidence, like you were saying.
Make them promise and then throw them the book and
yeah, exactly. Here, read this book. You also have a great setup at the beginning for setting up your pantry and stocking your fridge with essentials and staples, which is also really helpful and great. When I first went vegan, I had no idea, what do I get rid of? What do I replace it with? And so I think that's also really helpful. This is really more than a cookbook. As you said, this has got so much information in it that it's almost like a text. I don't want to say a textbook because that sounds so boring. This is so fun. But it's like a resource guide that you can keep on your kitchen counter and just flip to it when you need information.
Thanks. Yeah, I sort of feel it's that way too. It's a combination of both. At one point I had to decide whether I put in more recipes or include all of that content at the back with the picky eaters and the packing school lunches. And for me, that was the heart of the book. That was really what I wanted to convey to people. So I had to cut a lot of recipes. That was hard, like 40 or something, but it was worth it to include that information.
Oh, we'll buy your other books for more recipes.
I'll try to take a break, but yeah.
But you have, there's over 100 in here? There's a lot of recipes in here as it is.
Yeah, there are 100 recipes. And I think it's over 100, like maybe 102 or 3, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a lot to work with anyhow in there.
Yeah. And let's talk about the recipes. I have the book in front of me and I'm looking at, we've got breakfast and everything from like your traditional, like you would think of your oatmeals to your smoothies. I love it. And then like your breads and snack bars, which is so awesome. So you can even put those in lunch boxes. You've got a whole lunch section, dinner time, salad dressings and sauces. And then for dinner, I'm just kind of taking people through here. We've got soups and stews, pizza and pasta, burgers and fries and such, casseroles, stir fries, and one dish wonders. And then you've got an amazing, amazing sweet treat section with, everything. We've got puddings, creams, and sauces, cookie bars and energy bites, frozen treats, cakes and frostings, and extras, you call it. And the cakes and frostings is my favorite. I'm so excited about all the deliciousness that you've got in there. Some fun, different things and you use ingredients that maybe people aren't as familiar with. Because I've been vegan 5 years now, and you've got coconut butter and macadamia nut butter and coconut sugar, and I'm so excited to use these ingredients. I've never used them before.
Yeah, well, coconut butter to me is like a bit of a miracle food, and it's very different than coconut oil. People get confused with them, and it is confusing because the labeling often on the products is not very specific, but coconut butter is the whole coconut basically blended into a butter, much like almonds and almond butter or peanuts and peanut butter. So it's that same concept where you're getting the whole food. So this is all like a whole foods cookbook. Everything in there is whole foods. And I try to use, as minimal processed ingredients as possible, but still to get like really beautiful flavors and textures for the kids. So, in one of my like you talk about the cakes and frostings. So I have a chocolate cake that I make the actual cake with a base of some whole grain flour, and sweet potatoes.
That's
And
actually the one I had open. I was gonna show him.
we're on the same wavelength. And the frosting has sweet potatoes in it too. So it's really cool because they do a double-edged kind of thing. They add sweetness and texture. They're really neat, like to use in desserts, because they add body and they also add a lot of sweetness, and they're good for you. So, you know, I actually made those for Father's Day, and my husband hadn't made them I think I hadn't made them for over a year, because I test recipes and then I keep moving. And he said, "Did you say there's sweet potato in these?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What else is in there?" And I said, "Don't you remember having these?" He said, "No, but they're good." So, I mean, you can eat that and feel like it's a chocolate cupcake or cake, just like anything else, but it's so much more wholesome than one with tons of processed, you know, sugar and margarine and all of that, you know, that's usually in sweets.
And that's what I love about this book, is that everything from the energy bars to the smoothie, even the fudgesicles and things you have in here, it's all pure goodness. I mean, you can feel good about giving your kids this when they want, "Oh, can I have dessert?" Yeah, eat this. Like, you don't feel guilty about it, because especially if you're feeding them a whole foods diet with all the other recipes in here, you know that they're getting their nutrition and they can have a sweet treat because it's good stuff in there.
Absolutely. And sometimes the sweet treats include really, really good things like the chia puddings, where they're getting lots of omega-3s. And for my kids, they don't like the chia seeds whole, so I puree the chia seeds into the pudding rather than having the whole seeds, which a lot of people are familiar with that in chia puddings. But they don't know they're in there then because they're pureed, but that's so wholesome, and they would not normally otherwise enjoy chia seeds. So for me, that's a great way to get them in their diet.
I love it. I love it. I love this book so much. I'm so grateful to you for putting this out there and doing what you do. I should mention too, you have a great Facebook site. I mean, first of all, your website is amazing, plantpoweredkitchen.com. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
And we'll give all this information down below in the little YouTube box with where to look at for the post, so you can get all of Dreena's information and look up all her other cookbooks as well. But I really feel I wanted to share was your Facebook page, and we share that in the interview below too on the blog. That is such a great resource to connect with other moms and families. I'm so grateful for you for putting that together, because I don't know a lot of vegan moms, and it's been nice to connect with other people and kind of ask, "Hey, are you dealing with this, or do you have a recipe for this?" And it's been really fun. So I don't know if you want to just share that real quickly.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. When I released the book, I thought I want a community. Like, I want to have a Facebook community, because I have a Facebook page, but to bring a community together is a different thing. And like you said, people are really supportive in that group. And I outlined at the beginning that I wanted it to be a supportive group. You didn't have to be fully vegan, but the posts that you shared needed to talk about vegan things or recipes, so that, you know, we kind of stayed on track. But certainly you don't need to be vegan to be in the group, because you're learning from the group. And people have been really supportive. And I said, I really want to encourage and not shame or give, pressure or anything like that. Like, let's build each other up. And it's been remarkable. Like, I'm so thrilled with that group. There's over 2,000 members now, and everyone is really quite lovely. And like you said, sharing information, and a lot of people are connecting on local levels too, so that they can get together for meetings and potlucks or start vegan mama groups and that kind of thing. So if you go online, it's just called on Facebook, Plant Powered Families. That's the group. And just join up and be part of it. It's really a great resource.
It really is. Thank you. So, okay, before we wrap up, I know this is probably asking you to pick your favorite child, but if there's one recipe in here that you love, or maybe that your girls love, or your husband, maybe a favorite one that you're like, you have to try. If you don't try any other recipe, you've got to try this one. Do you have one you could share?
Oh, that is hard. Okay, I'll pick a sweet for sure. Okay, so I mentioned the sweet potato chocolate cake, but I also love the crazy brownies, because they were born out of a crazy moment where I wanted to make brownies that were gluten-free and also had a nut-free option and were made with wholesome things. So those brownies they're very crazy. I don't even want to tell people the ingredients, because then they might go, ooh. But every time I've made them for events, people are like, wow, those are amazing. And they have potatoes and dates and kidney beans in them. So that on its own sounds really horrific in a brownie. but they're amazing. So that's probably one of the ones that comes to mind first. It's like, try the crazy brownies. And then the red lentil hummus, I think you showed that at the beginning. That's a super popular recipe. People love it. And I think for people who feel like beans can be a little harder to digest, or kids don't always like hummus, the red lentils are still mild tasting and creamy. That's been a really big hit too.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dreena. I am so grateful to have you with us today and to have your time to share like a little inside peek into your lovely book. And if you want to learn more about Dreena and hear some more chat between her and me, just visit below the link at bigmama.com and you can hear some more interview between the two of us. And make sure you check out her book. Get a copy of this. You will not be sorry. It is a wonderful resource. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks, Dreena. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.